Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the car boot crafter. I'm coming on with this cute little project. It's a man's gift box. As you can see, lots of room inside, and I just think it's really cute. I saw something similar on Pinterest. And it's taken me a while to work it all out and do the measurements, and especially how to sort of work on putting the collar on. But I'll show you all of that in today's video. So I hope you like it. I hope you'd be interested in giving it a try, and I'll put it to one side and show you how I've made it. So you start off with a piece of card which measures 7.5 by 10 inches. Any colour you like, but I'm sticking with the traditional black tie, so black and white. So on the 7.5 inch side at the top, you're going to score at 1.5 inches, flip it over and score on the other side again at 1.5 inches. Turn it all the way around, butt it up and score again at 1.5 inches. This way we know that these really are 1.5 inches, and oops, I've jumped out of the channel there. That these really are 1.5 inches, and that any little bits that are, you know, if it's slightly too short, slightly too big, are then on the inside. But we need these to be true for creating our little sides. So once you've done that, you're going to turn it onto the long side, so on the 10 inch side, and you're going to score at 4. Flip it over and score at 4 again. And then you're going to turn it all the way around and then score on the other end at 4 for the same reason, to make sure that this is true for both sides, and any little bits that are over or under are in the middle there. Okay, so once we've done that, what we now want to do is to keep this in the school board, and we want to go 1/2 inch either side, but only to that score mark that goes across that first one we did at 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to score at 3.5 there, and I'm only going to that score mark that goes across there. So 1/2 inch, so 3.5, then that 4.5 goes all the way through. This should be round about the 6 mark, our other score mark there. So I want to score again at 6.5, but only coming to that score line again. So I don't want to go any further than that score line. Turn it all the way around and do exactly the same again. So go to the 3.5 and score just to that point where that line comes across, and then 6.5 and only go as far as that cross score line there. Okay, I can pop that away now. So you're going to get out your scissors and you're going to follow that score line all the way down until you get to that score line that goes all the way across. So you've gone past that one, that little one that we made, and you've gone to the one that goes all the way across. Then grab your scissors and you're going to cut up that one that we scored that only went to that first score line, and we're removing that bit. Turn it round and do exactly the same on the other side. So follow the score line all the way down past that short score line and go all the way to that one that goes all the way across. Turn it, and using that little score line, chop that off, and that then gives us our tabs on each side, which we'll use to glue the box. So again, coming down along that score line till I get to that score line that goes all the way across, cut at that little 1/2 inch score line that we made. So all the way down, and I always put my scissors underneath that so that I can get at it and not worry about snipping that bit in the middle. So then you're at this point. Right, so I'm going to grab my little scissors, and what you've got now, if I tuck this away, so I've got my 4-inch score line that goes all the way there. So I'm going to tuck that out the way, and you can see the tabs there that we've made. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut those corners off just to debulk them a little bit, so that I've then got that shape. So I've done that side, and I'll do this side, just taking those corners off. So there's my score line, there's my score line there, and I'm just taking that corner off. So I'll do the other side again. So I'll tuck that off out the way so it's not going to get in the way while I just snip those corners off like that. And there's no amount or particular angle that you need to be snipping at, just take out some of the bulk, pop that in there, and you end up with that. Then grab your bone folder and just fold along all of those score lines like that. This side as well, there and there. And then, although I did fold it up, let's reinforce that with my bone folder. There we go. So that's all my score lines folded. So I'm just going to grab some glue, and now what I'm going to do is put some glue on this tab here, and while I'm at it, I'll put some on this side as well. And what we want to do is create sort of like a box at the bottom of this gift bag. So what I want to do is bring that score line up so that it meets this cut mark here, so that we then create a nice sharp corner on there. So I always find it easiest to lay it down flat like that, bring in my bone folder. And then I'll do the same on this side, bring this one in, lay it flat, and using my bone folder, just push that glue into the card. Okay, then I'm going to hold that while I then do the same on these. So a bit of glue on there like that, bit of glue on this one, and then bring this over and make sure that those are all nice and sharp on those corners on both sides like that. Let's bring that round like that, makes it a little easier. And because it doesn't go, because we've only got that 1.5 inch deep on the side, it does make it a little easier. So to help it dry, I'm just going to grab a peg, and that just pulls them together like that. It's just this glue doesn't grab very well sometimes. So there we go, and that just holds the top of the bag together and helps that glue together. It's not going to stick, is it? It's not going to hold it. I think that's I think this card is a little bit too thick. Okay, so I shall grab my bone folder, push it in, and just encourage that a bit more, and then leave it to dry. On the one I did earlier, I was able to put my peg on there and it held it, but that's not going to happen with that one. Okay, not a problem. I'm going to leave it there to dry. So the next thing you're going to need is 3 pieces of card, 1 in a white because that's going to be the shirt, and then 2 in the black as well. So if you're not doing black, then just make sure these 2 are the same colour as your base, because these are going to be our collar and this is going to be our shirt. So this measures 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So grab your ruler and make a mark at one end at 3/4 of an inch. This rule is rather annoying because it doesn't do those measurements at this side. It only does it this side. So 1, 2, 3, there's my 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just putting a little dot there, and then what I'm going to do is draw a line from the top corner down to that dot, like that. I'm going to do the same on this side, from that top corner to that dot, and then grabbing my scissors, I'm just going to cut that out like that. I like a long scissor for things like this because it means that you're not having to do lots of little snips. There we go. So those pieces are waste, so we want to keep the middle bit. So that is going to be what forms the shirt on the front, like that. I'll leave that like that, and that'll be on the front like that, but we're not going to glue it down just yet. I'm going to pop that to one side. Then I'm going to bring in these 2, and what I want to do is I want to draw a line from the top corner to the bottom corner, and then from the bottom corner to the top corner, and I'm using a pencil so that I can see where I'm drawing that line. So, and what I've done is I've done it the opposite way. So that one's gone from that end to that end, so that the line's gone across from that corner to this corner, and on this side it's gone from this corner to that corner. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure just over 1/4, again wrong end of the ruler, just over 1/4 of an inch, so about 3/8. And I'm going to put a mark, and then again follow it, put 3/8 of an inch away from this line that we've just drawn. So 1, 2, 3, like that, like that. And then I'm going to draw another line going up like that. So I've now got 2 lines, hopefully you can see that. So one's going from that corner to that corner, and the other one is parallel to it, about 3/8 of an inch away from that one. And that's the one, the shorter one is the one I'm going to cut. Just cut at that line. You could do it by eye if you wanted, whatever works for you. Then I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to lay it down, so there's that line that went from corner to corner, and I'm just going to score along that line, if I can keep my ruler still. Get back. So I'm just scoring along that line, and then I'm just going to lift it up and bring it over my ruler like that. Use my bone folder to fold it down. So now I've got a tab which I'm going to use to glue onto my shirt front. Before I do that, what helps so that I can tuck all of this away and take the bulk out is, if I fold this across, you can see that this bit sticks out. So there's where my line is, it sticks out, so I'm going to cut that off. I'll grab my scissors and just follow the line of this piece. I'm going to follow this line and cut that off. And that then, when I tuck it under there, takes all the bulk out of it. Whereas if I'd left it in, you'd see it sticking out on this side. So I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. So just checking I've got the right side. I don't want to score on the wrong side of it. So on this one, I'm going to lay that down and make a mark at 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch, and further on down 3/8 of an inch, and again I'm going to line it up and oops, do that, snip the shorter line off. That gives me that shape. Pop my ruler down on the longer one, which goes from point to point. Score along that line. Move that out of the way. Score along that line, and then encourage that to fold up and over my ruler like that. Lay it down and reinforce that, and again, as you can see, if I turn it that way, you can see the line of it goes, and this is all hanging over. It's all sticking out there. We don't want that. Let me show you. Look, if I was to pop that on there, you can see it's all sticking out that side, and that's what we don't want. So I'm going to grab my scissors. The other ones are sharper. Grab my scissors and let's cut that off like that, and we can get rid of that. And then all I need to do is glue this on here. Now before I do it, these are going to be ever so slightly too long. Yeah, if I line that up ever so slightly, I'll show you how to sort that out in a minute. But before we do that, step I'd forgotten, put them back to back like that. Yeah, put them back to back like that, and bring in your scissors and do a little snip there. So a little snip like that. So you remember on a man's jacket, there's always that little bit that sort of is snipped in. So snip that away to give us that that look of a suit. It's this bit here. If I pop that behind there, see, it's that bit there that we're snipping away. So and if we hold them back to back like that, we know that they are fairly even on both sides. Okay, so now we can start putting it together. So get me glue, and I'm going to glue on that tab there. So all the way down, making sure I've got all glue all the way down the length of it, and then slip it under. What you're aiming to do is this point here, you want it to line up with that point at the bottom of the shirt. So that's all lined up, and buff the shirt right into that that crease there, and then use your bone folder, push it all in. Okay, you will see, if I hold that up, you'll see that the black is slightly longer than the white. All you need to do is get your scissors and snip that off. So at the top of the white, so on that corner there, get your scissors and just come across at the same angle as the top of that shirt jacket. So you end up with a piece like that. Oops. End up with a piece like that you snipped off. Okay, and then the same on this side. Let's grab our glue and glue this onto the other side, and this then makes the jacket, lapels and the shirt all in one. So taking my shirt and the other lapel, lining up that point with this point like that, buffing that shirt right into that crease. Get my bone folder, push it all in like that, all the way up, so that we've got contact with the glue all the way up. And there we have it. And again, you'll see that that comes over just a tiny bit. So again, get your scissors, and what you want to do is you want to cut on that angle. So you want to make sure that you are doing it so that it's level with this side. So cut it across. If it's slightly off, doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. And there you have the front of the jacket. Then bring in the box. Let's tuck those lapels away, and you're going to put glue all on the back here where all of these, the lapels and the back of the shirt are. So plenty of glue on there, and then you're going to put the top of the shirt, so this end, put it on so that it lines up with the top. So there's the bottom of my box, that's the open bit, and you're going to line it up. You can measure if you want to find out where the middle is, but I always do it by eye. There we go. And you can use your bone folds, but support it with your hand underneath. So there we go. So almost done. The next part is the handles. So these two are 1/2 inch by, oh gosh, 1/2 inch by, did I write it down? 1/2 inch by 8. Yeah, 1/2 inch by 8. And you're just going to fix them on the top there. So easiest thing is to get your bone folder, and so that it curves like that. Do that on both of them like that, and that just helps with gluing them down. I've got some pegs, so 4 of them, and all I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue on there, and so halfway between the top of there and the edge, I'm just going to pop that in there. When I'm happy about where it is, I'm going to use a peg to hold that in place. Okay, so that's the easiest one to do. Then you're going to pull that out straight and put your glue on that side. So you want it on the same side, don't get putting it on the other side and ending up twisting it. Then you're going to twist it round, but the glue's up still, and again I'm doing it by eye. Measure it if you're happier measuring it, and pop that in, and again I'm going to use my peg to hold it. Let's get in there like that. That peg's just twisted, hasn't it? So let me get that in this side, that might be easier. There we go. And you've got your first handle on. Flip it over, and again take your handle and on the outside put a bob of glue, and look at where your handle is on this side and measure it. I'm again by eye, but you can more than, you know, welcome to get your measure out and measure on both sides, so you've got a spot where it'll hold. And again pull it out like that, put your glue on that side, and you have to then do a little fancy turn so that it's there, pop it under there while checking it's about level with the one behind, and I'm all fingers and thumbs on this one, and pop your peg in like that. Whoops, let's get that back in again and pop your peg on. there, and that will just hold them. That one again, I think that's better on the outside. That will just hold them for now, and we'll pop that to dry while we do the last bit. So I've now got a piece that is what size is this? I think it's 1 inch. Yeah, 1 inch by 3 inches. So I've got my sharp scissors, and I'm going to fold it in half like that, and I'm just going to go from the open end, so this is my open end, and I'm going to do half a tie shape. So I'm going to come in a little bit, just a 1/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to go round in a sort of ovally shape, half ovally shape, and then when I get to the creased end, roughly about level with here where I've started my cut, and then I'm going to come in like that. So it's that sort of shape. Have I got any right there? It's that sort of shape, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So come in about 1/8 of an inch, and then come round in a sort of ovally sort of shape, come back in, and there. So that's a little bit, I'm going to take that little bit off there, and so we've got that shape. But because I've doubled it over, we've got that shape, which looks very odd, doesn't it, and very uneven. But then the magic happens when you grab your bone folder and hold that middle bit, hold that middle piece, support it, get your bone folder and break up those fibres and give it a curl. So you've got that curl. Turn it round and do the same on the other side. Give it a curl. Right. And then what you're going to do is put a little bob of glue in the middle there. And these two little pieces here, you're going to bring those around. Don't fold your paper, just allow it to bend. Bring that in, and then the same on this side. Bring that in to the middle and pinch it. I'm going to grab one of my trusty little clamps. I'm going to clamp that like that so that the glue has chance to grab. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to find a little piece of scrap card, and I'm going to cut myself a piece that is, that's not very straight, that isn't, so I'm going to do this end. That's a straighter edge, and I'm just going to cut myself a little slither like that. That's a not very straight slither, but it will do. So, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that end. I'm going to give my little bow tie a minute. Let's take that clamp off and hope that it's all grabbed. It hasn't quite grabbed there. So let's put a little bit more glue on there. Oh, excuse me. So I'm going to pinch that, but while I'm doing it, I'm going to put that on there and wrap it round quite tightly, not too tight, but enough so that it's on there. Then when I get to the other side, I'm going to snip any extra off. I don't want tons hanging over, and straighten it up a minute, and I need to open that out and put a little bob of glue on there. So if you've got glue that grabs really quickly, it's going to be much better to do this than this glue that I've got, which isn't the best, I'll be honest with you. So, and there we have a little bow, a little bow tie. Oh, goodness me. Right, I'm going to take that apart and start again. Sometimes you've just got to start again, haven't you? So put that back in like that. And pinch that together. Talk amongst yourselves while I'm trying to get the glue to grab, which is taking a minute. Because we don't want to fold these over, we want to keep them rounded. So that's part of the issue, is that the pressure on the glue, because that's rounded, is a bit much. So I'm going to see if I can flatten those a little bit. If I had more time, if I wasn't on camera, I would do it and pop them to one side and finish it off later. There we go. And then that's that little piece that we cut off earlier. So I'm going to put some more glue on the back. Pop that edge on. Let's see if we can get the right edge. Pop that on there like that. And wrap it around your bow, middle of your bow, like that, making it a little bit tighter than it was. So I've got a little bit more to snip off. Hopefully that'll help. And I noticed that little bit of black card has stuck to my thumb. There we go. That's better. That's a much better bow tie. So I'm just going to hold that close while it grabs, and you want a little bit of glue either side, and that then will go in the middle of your bag like that. In fact, I'm going to bring it down a little bit more like that. So I'm going to hold that on while I take my pegs off, because those should have dried by now, which they have. And I get rid of that, and there you have another. If I pop that under there, you can see you've got the lapels on either side like that, which, you know, you can see really well in person. And I'm going to grab another, well, do you know what, yes, I am going to put a happy birthday one on here. Let's have a look. What one do we think? So I think the silver. I don't think the gold